The contributions of Indian National Army. Contributions of Indian National Army. First point to write down. They were very successful. They were very successful in making Indian independence. Yeah, achievements or contributions. They are very successful in making the issue of Indian independence an international issue. Second, they were an example of communal harmony. At a time of violence in the country. And third, when the Quit India movement, one second, my laptop battery is very low. Had become a leaderless movement. When the Quit India movement had become a leaderless movement due to the arrest of all the leaders, due to the arrest of all the leaders, the leadership came from outside. The leadership came from outside in the form of INA. Next heading, INA trials. INA trials. After the USA joined the Second World War, after the USA joined the Second World War, comma, they started to increase attacks on eastern Japan Hence, hence, the Japanese had to shift their resources to defend their own country, to defend their own country, comma. The INA was left with no resources. The INA was left with no resources, comma. The INA soldiers were captured and all of them were tried in the Red Fort. Tej Bahadur, Sapru, and Jawaharlal Nehru defended them very well, but the British placed Captain Sehgal Captain Shahnawaz Khan and Captain Dillon in the same dock and held all INA prisoners and held all INA prisoners as guilty and held all INA prisoners as guilty. But later, all of them were left free. But later, all of them were left free. Next, Quit India movement. So this Quit India movement was the third movement led by Mahatma Gandhi. And this Quit India movement, Mahatma Gandhi had to start. He had to start a mass movement. There was no other option because the Cripps mission had failed. The British have involved Indians into the Second World War without even taking the permission of the Congress. They were not ready to give us freedom. They were saying we'll give you only dominion status, and that too after the war. They could not defend India. It was known that they were not in a position to defend India. So Mahatma Gandhi had to start a movement. So what he did was on 8th of August 1942, he called for a session of Congress in Bombay, and he himself drafted the Quit India Movement resolution. So the Quit India Movement resolution read like this. He said that it is a crime against God and mankind to remain any longer loyal to the British. It is a crime against God and mankind to remain any longer loyal to the British because they have degraded India politically, socially, and economically. It is a situation of do or die, quit India. So, this is the resolution which Mahatma Gandhi gave. And as soon as Mahatma Gandhi gave, he went on giving his speech in the Gowalia Tank Maidan in Mumbai. And after his speech, he told all the Congress members to repeat this statement. So 8th August, Mahatma Gandhi gave this statement. By the evening of 8th August, Mahatma Gandhi and all INC leaders, everybody were arrested and put in jail. So they were arrested and put in jail mainly because of this statement of do or die. Because indirectly, Mahatma Gandhi was himself calling for violence. So there are a few questions which had come in UPSC films. First question, I remember it had, they had said that consider the following statements. Statement number one, the Quit India movement was the Quit India movement was led by Mahatma Gandhi. The leader of Quit India movement was Mahatma Gandhi, first statement. And the second statement, it said that women participated in large numbers in Quit India movement. So, can you give me the answer? Only statement one correct, only two correct, both correct, and neither correct? What do you think is the answer here? First statement is said. Okay. Now listen to one more question. This also asked in UPSC. Which of the following statements regarding, which of the following regarding Quit India movement is not correct? Option one, ABC. A. It was led by Mahatma Gandhi on ground. It was led by Mahatma Gandhi. B. Women participated in large numbers. C. The industrial workers participated in the Quit India movement. And D. It was a violent movement. So in this, which is not correct? First, led by Mahatma Gandhi. Second, women participated. Third was industrial workers participated. And D. It was a violent movement. Okay, Chandramohan says industrial workers participated. That one. Okay. Anybody else? Yeah, Priyanka, you gave me the answer. This is a little tricky question. Okay. See, in this question, answer is A. First question, it was the leader of the movement was quitting a movement. See, theoretically, the leader of this movement was Mahatma Gandhi. But when the movement began, on ground, it was a leaderless movement. There was no leader. And because Mahatma Gandhi gave the statement, do or die, and neither Mahatma Gandhi and nor any of the Congress leaders were there to control the people, this became the most violent movement in Indian freedom struggle. Almost 60,000 people were killed, and 1 lakh 40,000 people approximately were arrested. So this was the most violent movement in the history of our freedom struggle. So A is the correct answer. But when you come to women participated, see when the movement became leaderless movement, the leadership was coming from outside in the form of Indian National Army and some women leaders of Congress Socialist Party, especially Aruna Asaf Ali. They took up the leadership of the Congress. So Aruna Asaf Ali was the leader of the Congress Socialist Party. We saw after the CDM, CSP was formed. She took up the leadership and she started underground activities. Started supporting the August Kranti people. The 8th August, also known as August Kranti Day. So on the ground, she started supporting the people, providing necessary help. Another woman leader was Usha Mehta. So this was asked in 2015. Which of the women leaders started an illegal radio during the Quit India movement? It was Usha Mehta. She also started an illegal radio. So women participated, definitely correct. But what about industrial workers? So this industrial workers participated is only partially correct because industrial workers were representing the CPI. And when the Quit India movement began, the CPI were completely involved in it, supported the movement. But as the movement was going on, this Hitler, what he will do, he will launch a second attack on Russia. Again, he will say, boss, go inside in summer and come back before winter. And that time, Russia would be completely involved in the war fighting with Hitler. Russia is an ally of British. So Russia also did not want any kind of disturbance in India. Russia communist, CPI communist, CPI will shift their loyalties. So now they will start acting as secret agents of the British from within the Congress. So they will give them prior information when is the next mass gathering going to happen. And it was one of, due to their controversial role played, thousands of people were arrested and a lot of killing took place. So it is because of this role of CPI. In the 1945 elections, the CPI did not win even one seat. That is why the CPI did not have any representation in the Constituent Assembly because Constituent Assembly was indirectly elected by those people who won the 1945 elections. Yeah, that was a very controversial role they played. So write down so much. Quit India movement. The Quit India movement, also known as the August movement, or the Bharat Chodo movement, was launched in the Bombay session of the Congress by Mahatma Gandhi. comma, he passed a resolution, comma, he passed a resolution on 8th August 1942, which read as which read as open inverted commas, it is a crime against God and mankind to remain any longer loyal to the British. It is a crime against God and mankind to remain any longer loyal to the British. It is a situation of do or die. It is a situation of do or die. Quit India. It's a situation of do or die. Quit India. Next point. Mahatma Gandhi delivered his speech Mahatma Gandhi delivered his speech in the Gowalia Tank Maidan which is now also called as August Kranti Maidan. He asked all the leaders of the Congress to repeat the do or die statement. Therefore, by the evening, by the evening of 8th August, all the Congress leaders were arrested. All the Congress leaders were arrested, comma. The Congress was declared as an unlawful organization and their funds were frozen. And their funds were frozen. Next point. Although The INC leaders were arrested, although the INC leaders were arrested. The movement began on 9th August 1942, but it was only participated by thousands of masses without any leader to guide them. Therefore, this movement was only theoretically led by this movement was only theoretically led by Mahatma Gandhi, but on ground, but on ground, it was a leaderless movement. But on ground, it was a leaderless movement. Just give me 30 seconds, I'll be back. Yeah. Next paragraph, write down. Next, you write course of the movement. Course of the movement. The first half of the movement was peaceful, with demonstrations and processions, which was carried till which was carried till Mahatma Gandhi's release. During this period, during this period, Chittu Pandey made Quit India movement successful in United Province by starting Praja Sarkars by starting Praja Sarkars, comma. Even during the first half of the movement, There were incidents of violence because of Mahatma Gandhi's statement, do or die, and it had become a leaderless movement. Next, the second half of the movement was the most violent. The Indian masses started setting fire to post offices. The Indian masses started setting fire to post offices, government buildings, and railway stations. The Viceroy of India, Lord Linlithgow, also adopted violent methods, also adopted violent methods through mass arrest and police firing. In this movement, approximately 60,000 people were killed and 1,42,000 people were arrested. Next point, young women leaders now started to take the leadership and guide the movement. Aruna Asif Ali. So, if any of you are sociology students taking sociology as optional, this Aruna Asif Ali has spoken lengths about women problems and women issues, especially the issue of dowry, which was there uh, even after independence. So, in your socio paper two, sociology second paper also, Aruna Asif Ali's contributions becomes important. Aruna Asif Ali of Congress Socialist Party organized various organized various underground activities, various underground activities, and supported the participants of QIM. Another women leader, Usha Mehta. Another woman leader, Usha Mehta, started an illegal radio during the Quit India movement to address and organize the masses. Full stop. Aruna Asaf Ali had also hoisted the national flag in Mumbai's Gowalia Tank Maidan. In Mumbai's Gowalia Tank Maidan. Next, last point. The industrial workers and the CPI, the industrial workers and the CPI, in the beginning, when QIM began, supported the Congress, but this was the time when Hitler had launched his second offensive on Russia, and since Russia was a communist government, the loyalties the loyalties of CPI shifted towards British, shifted towards British because Russia was their ally, because Russia was their ally in World War II. Full stop. Due to the information passed on by the CPI to the British, due to the information passed on by the CPI to the British, thousands of people could easily be arrested. Thousands of people could easily be arrested, comma. They were acting as they were acting as the secret agents of the British from within the Congress. They were acting as the secret agents of the British from within the Congress. Hence, Due to this controversial role, hence, due to this controversial role played by CPI, they did not win even one seat. They did not win even one seat in the 1945 elections. Next paragraph. Due to the brutal suppression of the British, due to the brutal suppression of the British, through mass arrest, police firing, and lathi charge, the Quit India movement of Mahatma Gandhi ended without achieving its objective. Full stop. This was, so tell me, was Quit India movement a failure or a success? So definitely it was a failure. So therefore, this was, Quit India movement was the third consecutive failure of a movement, third consecutive failure of a movement led by Mahatma Gandhi without achieving its objective. So now listen to me. Now again, Mahatma Gandhi was put in jail. So in 1944 it was. And when Mahatma Gandhi was in jail, the British called Mahatma Gandhi as an anarchist. They said Mahatma Gandhi is an anarchist, he's a senseless man. Because of him, he was the person who gave the slogan "Do or Die." So, because of Mahatma Gandhi, the August disturbance took place and so much of killing happened. They put the entire blame on Mahatma Gandhi. So, because they called him as an anarchist and put the blame on him for so much of killing, what will Mahatma Gandhi do? He will definitely go on a fast unto death. So, when he went on a fast unto death, what will happen? Again, his health will deteriorate. When his health deteriorated, the British decided to release Mahatma Gandhi. So Mahatma Gandhi was released. But when Mahatma Gandhi was released, he was not the same dynamic person. So his dynamism had reduced, not that dynamic. His wife had also died. His close associates, his personal secretary, everybody had died. And slowly, now the Indian National Congress started to see Mahatma Gandhi, entire India started to see Mahatma Gandhi only as a godfatherly figure, and the leadership went into the hands of Jawaharlal Nehru. So in 1944, already by the end of 1944, the end of World War II could be seen. The world could see that the World War II is ending with the defeat of the Axis powers, and we Indians and the entire world knew very well that after the World War II, India is going to get independence. So why we knew that India is going to get independence? Because these Britishers came and ruled India for drain of wealth. So they came here for business. So they will administer India, rule India if they're making some money out of it. But due to the Second World War, the British economy was so badly hit that they were also not in a position to even pay salaries to their own British officers working in India. So British themselves wanted to leave India and run away. So everybody knew that we are going to get independence after the Second World War. But the entire question was, what kind of independence do you need? Do you need a divided independence or an undivided independence? So now, therefore, the compromises between the INC and Muslim League began. So if you see our entire freedom struggle, it was in 1942, Quit India movement. That was the last struggle. After Quit India movement, we did not see any struggle for independence because we knew that we are going to get independence. It was just a compromise which took place. It was a compromise between INC and Muslim League. So now these compromises between INC and Muslim League happened, for which various people came and gave various opinions, various formulas. So that is where we are, the CR formula. So before you go to CR formula, just write down next paragraph. When Mahatma Gandhi was in jail, when Mahatma Gandhi was in jail, the British called him as an anarchist, putting the blame on Mahatma Gandhi for the August disturbance. For the August disturbance. Therefore, Mahatma Gandhi went on a fast unto death. And when his health deteriorated, and when his health deteriorated, the British released him, but Mahatma Gandhi was not the same dynamic person after his release. He had become old, his wife and personal secretary had died, From now on, from now on, Mahatma Gandhi had seen, Mahatma Gandhi was seen as a godfatherly figure, and the leadership in India and the leadership in India moved into the hands of Jawaharlal Nehru. Next paragraph. Everybody knew that India is going to get freedom after the Second World War because the British economy was very badly hit. They were not even in a position to pay salaries to British officials working in India. Hence, the only question with Indians was regarding type of independence, what type of independence, whether divided independence or undivided independence. Therefore, after the Quit India movement, it was a compromise which took place. It was a compromise which took place between INC and the Muslim League. Okay, so the first step in this compromise policy was taken by C. Rajagopalachari. This was in June 1944. So he met Mahatma Gandhi and gave us formula. So his formula was simple. So what he said is Muslim League is demanding for Pakistan. So what we'll do is let us demarcate in the west and the east. Let us demarcate the Muslim majority area. So especially that is was Bengal and Assam area and the today's Pakistan, Punjab area. After you demarcate, then we are going to have a plebiscite. Plebiscite was a kind of voting. You ask the people whether you want Pakistan or whether you want India. So they will select either Pakistan or India. In referendum, you will have only options yes or no. Do you want British to quit European Union, the Brexit? Yes or no? That's a referendum. So in any of this, if you get 50% and more, you kind of win this plebiscite. So C. Rajagopal said, in this demarcated area, let us have a plebiscite. Let us ask people whether you want to join either India or Pakistan. So because this is a Muslim League demand that they want Pakistan. By chance, if Muslim League wins in the plebiscite and creating Pakistan becomes a reality, in that case, this defense, currency, and communication, it will be jointly controlled by both countries. India and Pakistan will jointly control these three. By chance, if Pakistan, the Muslim League loses, if people votes against Pakistan, never again in your life the Muslim League should talk about Pakistan. If you lose, never again you should talk about Pakistan. So for all this to happen, first this Muslim League to shut up and support the Congress in getting the transfer of power. So after we get the transfer of power, then we will do all this. So Mohammed Ali Jinnah rejected this. Muhammad Ali Jinnah called CR formula as Motik tongue, mutilated, and meme. And he rejected this CR formula. The reason why he rejected is he did not want this joint control. He said telling joint control, but the joint control between India, which will be a strong country because more area you have, and Pakistan, which will be weaker. So joint control between strong and the weak means it is the control of the strong. So he was against this joint control. Second, the opinion of the Indian National Congress is why Jinnah rejected. Because they said Jinnah rejected because this fellow, he was not confident in winning the plebiscite. He knew very well that he is going to lose the plebiscite. And that would have been very sure. Why? Because in the West Pakistan, that is today's Bangladesh area, in the West Muslim majority areas, today's Bangladesh area, 49% were non-Muslims. So in the West, that Bangladesh area, definitely all the 49% people would have voted for the Congress, they would have voted for India. They will definitely not vote for Pakistan. Remaining 51% Muslims are there. In this 51% also, there are some Congress supporters because even in Congress there are many Muslim leaders. So remove another 10 to 20% here. So definitely Congress would have easily got about 70% vote in the West Bangladesh area. What about the East? In the East, today's Pakistan area. In the East, 37% people were non-Muslims. So definitely all these 37% people would have voted against Muslim League. They would have voted definitely for the Congress. So they would have voted for India. So another 63% were Muslims. But in Pakistan, Balochistan area, northwestern frontier province, we had our frontier Gandhi, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. This Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan was a complete Gandhian. In fact, even in the 1937 elections, Muslim League could not win in NWFP. INC only won because of Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. So definitely the Muslims of NWFP would definitely again support Congress. So remove another 15% here. So definitely even in Pakistan, Congress would have easily crossed the 50% mark. So this is why Jinnah rejected. And Jinnah says Plebiscite by whom, he asked. According to Jinnah, in the plebiscite, only the Muslims in the Muslim majority areas, only they should vote and not the other religions. But this was completely unacceptable to the Congress because in the West, 49% were Hindus and in the East, 37% were Hindus. So Congress was like, how the hell can you exclude such a huge population? So due to this, the CR formula also failed without a compromise between INC and the Muslim League. So write down CR formula. So have I anytime told you how to write your essay and all these things? Have I showed you my essay of 2014, 2014 KPSC mains, which I wrote the essay. I had taken an RTI and I not showed you. Is it? Okay. So it's in my mail. So I will show you today. Yeah, see if I remove this window, if I go to some other window to download mail, is my video and the voice audible or is it going off? Yeah, am I audible now? Was I audible? Am I audible? Please tell me. Yeah. Yeah. Am I audible now? I am not in the screen. Am I audible? Okay. So if I'm not in the screen, it's audible, right? Okay, fine. I will download my question paper, my answer script. So you keep writing the notes. Huh? CR formula, June 1944. C. Rajagopalachari from the INC gave a proposal. C. Rajagopalachari from the INC gave a proposal to the Muslim League gave a proposal to the Muslim League to settle and compromise the issue of partition. To settle and compromise the issue of partition. The CR formula was also approved by Mahatma Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi described him as Mahatma Gandhi described him as the keeper, open inverted commas, as the keeper my conscience. Described him as the keeper of my conscience. The CR formula was as follows. Number one, demarcation of Muslim majority areas demarcation of Muslim majority areas in the east and the west. Number two, plebiscite, a plebiscite to be held on the question of Pakistan, a plebiscite to be held on the question of Pakistan in the demarcated areas next. If people, next point, if people vote for Pakistan and if Pakistan becomes a reality, and if Pakistan becomes a reality, then defense, currency, and communication will be jointly controlled. Next point, if Muslim League loses in the plebiscite, if Muslim League loses in the plebiscite, they should never again take the question of Pakistan. And last, for all this to happen, the Muslim League should first support the Congress in getting the transfer of power from the British. Next paragraph. Muhammad Ali Jinnah rejected the CR formula by calling it, upper inverted commas, motik stung, mutilated, and mean, comma. Jinnah rejected the CR formula due to the following reasons. Point number one, he was against joint control. According to him, joint control between A strong and a weak country meant the control of the strong. Next, second reason, Jinnah was not confident in winning the plebiscite. And third, Jinnah wanted only the Muslims to participate. Jinnah wanted only Muslims to participate in the plebiscite. This was not acceptable to the Congress because 49% of the population in the east in the east demarcated areas were non-Muslims, and 37% of population in the west demarcated areas were non-Muslims. Next one more point. Jinnah wanted Congress to recognize him as the sole leader of entire Indian Muslims, which Congress outrightly rejected because the Congress itself had many Muslim leaders. The Congress itself had many Muslim leaders. Next, Gandhi Jinnah talks. September 1944. So after the CR formula failed, so now Mahatma Gandhi came forward. So he said, I will talk to Jinnah and let us settle the matter. And Jinnah definitely wanted, Mahatma Gandhi wanted to discuss about the issue of Pakistan, the two nation theory given by Jinnah. By then, the CR formula was over. The CR formula was rejected by Jinnah. He was against the joint control and everything. He wanted the Muslims to rule by themselves. And again, he demanded that Mahatma Gandhi and the entire Congress should accept that Jinnah is the sole leader of all the Indian Muslims. Due to this demand again, which was completely unacceptable to Gandhi, the Gandhi Jinnah talks also failed. So write down Gandhi Jinnah talks, September 1944. So here actually, see when Jinnah was telling that he should be recognized as the leader of sole leader of Indian Muslims, he was telling when the country was partitioned, Muslims staying in Hyderabad, Muslims staying in Tamil Nadu, Muslims staying in Karnataka, South, all the Muslims should move towards the demarcated areas. And Hindus from there will be kicked out and they should move towards India. Mahatma Gandhi's opinion is, boss, you are not leader of all the Muslims everywhere in India. You will be considered as a leader only in those demarcated areas. So if Muslims in only those demarcated areas, if they wish to stay as separate country, let them stay. If they wish to completely, let them come. So only for those areas, you don't please be bothered about Muslims in other parts of India. So this was the reason why this Gandhi Jinnah talks failed. So write down. In September 1944, Mahatma Gandhi came ahead to talk to Jinnah about his two nation theory. When these talks began, Jinnah had already rejected the CR formula. Next paragraph. Mahatma Gandhi never accepted the view that Indian Muslims constitute a separate nation. Mahatma Gandhi never accepted that Indian Muslims constituted a separate nation, comma. He regarded India as one family consisting of many members, and Muslims were one of them. Next point. Jinnah demanded that he should be accepted he should be accepted as the sole leader of Indian Muslims and a separate country Pakistan should be formed for Muslims living in entire India. But Mahatma Gandhi proposed that But Mahatma Gandhi proposed that Muslims only living in Muslims only living in Balochistan, Sindh, comma, northwestern frontier province, parts of Punjab, Bengal, and Assam, parts of Punjab, Bengal, and Assam, who desired to live, who desired to live separately from India, separately from India, should only become the new state. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇರ್ತದೆ வெளியே போட்டு அது was should only become a new state. Therefore, the Gandhi Jinnah talks also failed. So after the Gandhi Jinnah talks failed, next the initiative was taken by the then Viceroy himself to solve this problem. Okay, so just before I go there, so do you guys want to have a look at the essay what I've written? So that here in my essay paper, I have got 100 and I think 100 and 193 out of 250. Still, I was not the topper in this. I was the second topper in this essay. The topper in essay has got around 202 or something. In my GS paper 3, so if you want, I can show you the GS paper 3 also, the SNT and environment paper. In that, I got 189 out of 250, in which I was the state topper in GS3. GS3, I'm the state topper. And my entire paper, I told you, I got 1025 out of 1750. So third or the fourth topper, but bad luck, I didn't pass Kannada. So see, even in your UPSC also, you will have two sections. So section 1, you'll have 4 essays in which you'll have to answer any one, 125 marks. Section B, again, 4 essays, you'll have to answer 1. And the space has been allotted, you have to start from there itself. Usually in your UPSC, section 1 will be regarding the Indian issues, and section 2 will be regarding either international issue or some kind of proverbs, etc. So in my section A, in my KPSC section A, right. My marker is not working. So anyway, I selected this first essay. So explain the concept of demographic dividend. What are its advantages? Discuss different methods of reaping the benefits of demographic dividend. And in section 2, KPSC is regarding state issues. So there I took something about the farmer's suicide. See, you come to your last rough sheet. First half an hour of your essay, you should only work on your rough sheet. You should not directly start writing because for completing your essay, two essays you have 3 hours. You do not need 1.5 hours for one essay. If you know what to write exactly, 45 minutes is enough to write. So first, you decide what you are supposed to write. So in rough work, whatever it comes to your mind, whatever randomly, whatever comes to your mind, just make a rough point, whatever randomly it comes. Write some 10, 20 points, how much are possible. So see, I have spoken about the disadvantages of demographic dividend, the advantages, everything. So regarding manpower, industrialization, various things, whatever comes to my mind regarding how the growth can happen due to population, the GDP, the household savings, etc. Every whatever came to my mind, everything I wrote. After you write, just make a rough work. Then you think for another 5 minutes. Arrange your rough work in one order. So arrange, okay, this should come first, this should come second. The continuity should be there. So always remember one thing, when you are writing an essay is totally different than writing a mains answer. Essay is different, a mains answer is different. Essay, you are taking it for 10 to 15 pages. So when an evaluator is reading your essay, you should be interested, you should get involved, you should feel like reading. That curiosity should be there. What is written next? What has written next? The curiosity you should create. It's like a story. It is like a newspaper editorial, your essays. You should keep the evaluator involved in your essay. Whereas answer is not like that. Up to the point, it's an 100-meter race. Whereas an essay is a marathon. Answer up to the point, one page you finish it. In that one page, whatever you know you have to portray, you should be a little different. You should do some value additions, some diagrams. But essay is not like that. It should be like a story. It's like a marathon. So you should keep them interested. So writing an answer is different and writing an essay is different. So usually what I do once I finish up this work, then for my introduction, only for the first page introduction, I take around 10 minutes for introduction. So per essay, I will take around 20 minutes, 10 minutes for rough work points, and only 10 minutes I'll work on the introduction. Is the introduction in which you have to catch your evaluator. So now I will show you my introduction for paper 2. Yeah, paper 2's come here. I mean, so section 2. See, in section 2, I chose this essay. Discuss the current agrarian distress in Karnataka. Account for farmer suicide in the state. What measures do you suggest for minimizing the agrarian distress? So this is the 2014 KPSC mains paper. The 2014 notification, mains happened only in 2017. So see, this is like a question. If you write like a mains answer, you will not fetch marks. So just look at my approach, how I have written. I have narrated him like a story. I try to put it like a newspaper editorial. So I've written, as I was reading the newspaper today morning, I came across an article regarding farmer suicide in Mandya region and sericulturist suicide in Ramnagara district. This came as a rude shock, exclamatory mark, early in the morning. I then started to think, what could have led them to suicide? Are we facing an agrarian distress in the state? And what is the long-term solution to this problem? These questions which pondered on my mind made me come up with a few issues to be discussed. So see, this is the difference between writing a mains answer and an essay. Should go like an editorial. So then I went on. What is the present scenario of present agrarian scenario in India and Karnataka? I went with this comparison. The present distress is due to which area? So all this was there in my rough work, deficit rainfall, So in Karnataka, how much deficit was there that year? I written about rain-fed farming. I've written about the irrigation deficits. I've written about the government programs which is there for irrigation, the lift irrigation projects which are not yet completed. Then coming to unremunerated prices for farmers, I've written about Karnataka Agriculture Price Commission. You have the CACP, Central Agriculture Price Commission for India, the post-harvest losses. So how much percentage of losses are happening here? So it goes on like continuation. So I've told what is the present problem. I've given them some graphs, how the agricultural growth rate has been reducing. What is the present contribution of agriculture in the GSTP? Why it has been very low? And the suicides in the current year. Then further, I went given reasons. Monoculture has been one reason. Sugar factories, and then finally, after I gave them the reasons, then I've spoken about what is the present, you know, committee they have appointed for the farmers' suicide. I've written about that also, and then finally, see this G. Veeresh committee. I've told about this present committee which was appointed and what this committee said, and what measures we need to take to minimize the agrarian distress. Measures to minimize the agrarian distress. So I have gone in a very systematic manner. When you come to measures, I have spoken about some current affairs, food park which was announced that year in Hassan, the forward backward linkages, government of Karnataka's online sale and purchase of food grains. That is nothing but ENAM government of Karnataka started. So like this, I went ahead and I've given my explanation. This goes on at around 15, uh, 10, 15 pages. Similarly, you look at my first essay. So here also I have followed one question answer pattern. My second essay, which I started, is slightly different than the first essay. Second essay is totally a question answer pattern. So there are around 5 to 6 different ways of starting an essay. So you should select what method will suit your style of writing. So my style of writing, this method would suit. I have analyzed it. So written about the first essay was explain the concept of demographic dividend, what has advantages, discuss different methods of reaping its benefits. So here I have written the demographic dividend. This term has become very interesting and challenging in the Indian scenario, isn't it? I'm asking the valuer himself a question. So if it has become interesting, do the people of our country really understand this concept? Are we making full use of it? If not, if we are not making full use of it, then what are the ways of taking advantage of demographic dividend? Is the government of India doing enough to take the demographic advantage? These questions we need to ask ourselves and address this issue of demographic dividend very professionally. To start with the explanation of the concept of demographic dividend, let us look at the theory of demographic transition theory. So this theory I have explained to you guys last class, theory given by Notstein, right? These graphs I have told you, right? So last class I told you this graph. So I started with these graphs to explain how the population in India is increasing. Stage one, the stage two, this is the Indian graph where we have the maximum number of working age population. Then I came to the developed countries, stage three. So now the concept of demographic dividend is clear. The concept of the population towards the contribution of the population towards the growth of the country, economy, contribution towards asset creation. So how that needs to be done. So that one I have gone and explained further. So how do you take advantage? What are the advantages of demographic dividend? So you get human resources. So here also I tried to bring in current affairs everywhere. So innovation. In innovation, I've spoken about agriculture. I've spoken about space, the PSLV, tragic engine, information technology, industrialization. I've spoken about underground mining because that year Western Ghats mining was very much in news. So ecological friendly mining, underground mining. I spoke about that. International demand for labor. So in fact, why I spoke of international demand for labor is that year Narendra Modi had gone to USA and he said that international labor, not only Indian labor, international labor is going to be fueled by Indian youth. So due to that, I got that concept. I spoken about IMF, spoken about World Bank. So wrote about all. See, how do you take the demographic advantage? What steps government of India should take? So written about skill development, the Skill India mission, written about Udan, education and functional literacy. So here I've written about National Literacy Mission, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, RMSA, RUSA, concept of sustainable development I've explained about good governance, e-governance. So like this, financial inclusion. So like this, when you write an essay, it should be very, very comprehensive. And there needs to be a continuity. How you relate a particular story with the present happenings of that particular topic. So this is how you need to write an essay. Uh, Fine. So if I leave my essay here, so you guys can download it, right? You guys can access it whenever you want. So I don't know how this works. So I have uploaded it in my login here in our website. So you guys can access it, right, whenever you guys want. Okay. Okay. Shall I continue with next? This Devel plan in Shimla conference. Yeah. So Manish, what I was asking is, if I leave this, I have uploaded this essay paper here in our website here, in the platform which I'm teaching. Can you guys access it whenever you guys want, or should I send it separately? Okay, okay. Oh, you cannot access it from here, is it? Okay. Okay, I will share it sometime on WhatsApp. Yeah. Okay. We will plan and Shimla conference. So now after the Gandhi Jinnah talks failed, so during Quit India movement, the viceroy was Lord Linlithgow. So now Linlithgow went in 1943. This Lord Wavell had become the viceroy. So this Lord Wavell, he came ahead and he said, "Boss, I will solve your problem. Congress and Muslim League, you guys come to me. I will see that the country is partitioned, and we will solve this problem between INC and the Muslim League." So he said, "I have a plan. So I don't want the talks between INC and Muslim League to break down. So that's why he also called this as a breakdown plan." And first he gave his plan, and then he said, "My plan shall be discussed in the Shimla conference further." So what was his plan? His plan was simple. So little when you're giving your notes, I'll give you more detail. His plan was simple. His plan was all of you, the INC and Muslim League and all leaders, please come to Shimla to discuss. In this plan, the Congress and most of you leaders, you people are always demanding that give us the defense ministry, give us the defense ministry. So defense ministry we cannot give. We will give you all the ministries right now. You don't have to wait until the war ends, because when the Shimla conference happened, still World War II was going on. So you don't have to wait until the war ends. We will give you right now all the ministries, but not defense. Instead, what we will do, we will create a separate defense cabinet. So this defense cabinet will have 14 members, out of which 6 members will be given to the Muslims, and the Muslim section, 6 will be given to Muslims, 6 will be given to Hindus, and remaining for other religions. So we are going to leave this. What is that? One religion which is going to dominate and veto anything that we are going to ensure that Muslims are protected. If any constitutional change, if the other political representatives or religions are doing, we will give you not only constitutional change, even the advice regarding the defense. These 6 Muslim members have the power to veto that particular change if they feel it is detrimental to their Muslim section. That veto power was given. So Jinnah was very happy. So he said, for the first time since the formation of Muslim League, something almost equal to the Congress, something the Muslim League is gaining for the first time in their life. But suddenly, one new Jnanodaya happens to Muhammad Ali Jinnah. He comes up with a, he went back home and thinking about this and very happy. Suddenly, he thinks that, oh, these people have told 6 membership for the Muslims. It's not being told separately for the Muslim League. And Congress can demand that in those 6 Muslims, Congress also can nominate. This is what the Congress did. Next day, Congress came and said, boss, we are also having a lot of Muslim leaders. It's not only Muslim League is not the only party for the Muslims. We are also representing Muslims. So in this 6 seats which are reserved for the Muslims, the Congress should also get a place. The Congress can also nominate Muslim members. Jinnah rejected it. Jinnah said, nothing doing. These 6 should only be to the Muslim League. Congress cannot nominate any Muslims. So, what baby? It's okay. So, uh, Jinnah was again suggesting that Jinnah should be accepted as the sole leader of Indian Muslims. And due to this demand of Jinnah, that INC cannot nominate any people to in that 6 seats, the Shimla Conference and Wavell Plan also failed. After the Shimla Conference and Wavell Plan failed, the Second World War ended. And after the Second World War ended, in the year 1945, elections were scheduled in both England and India. So in India, there was no change. The elections of India, whatever results came in 1937, 1937 elections we have discussed, the same results came even in the 1945 elections. But in England, there was a total change. The Conservative Party, led by Winston Churchill, lost, and the Labour Party, headed by Clement Attlee, came to power. And this Labour Party was always softer to the Indian colony, and they decided to give freedom as soon as possible. So write down heading Wavell Plan and Shimla Conference. Wavell Plan and Shimla Conference. Lord Wavell, who succeeded Lord Linlithgow as the Viceroy in October 1943, came forward in March 1945 to break the deadlock between INC and Muslim League. So he gave so he gave the Wavell plan on 14th June 1945, which is also called as the breakdown plan. Which is also called as the breakdown plan. Next, provisions of Wavell plan. Provisions of Wavell plan. Point one: formation of a new executive council. Formation of a new executive council at the center, in which all members except the viceroy and the commander in chief would be Indian. Next, all portfolios, all portfolios except defense will be under the control of Indian members. Next, the Wavell plan proposed an executive council and a war cabinet and a war cabinet to advise the viceroy, which was to have 14 members, comma, the Muslims who constituted only 25% of the total population were given the right to be overrepresented by selecting six representatives, comma, Muhammad Ali Jinnah was very happy due to this provision. Muhammad Ali Jinnah was very happy due to this provision. Next, the Congress demanded its right to select representatives of any community, including Muslims, as Congress nominees, as Congress nominees to the Council, as Congress nominees to the Council. Next, Shimla Conference, subheading Shimla Conference. Lord Wavell invited 21 Indian political leaders, 21 Indian political leaders in Shimla. So Shimla was the summer capital in Shimla to discuss provisions of Wavell Plan. Next, the Wavell Plan agreed for Indian self-government agreed for Indian self-government, which incorporated separate representations, which incorporated separate representations to the Muslims and reduced majority powers for both communities and reduced majority powers for both communities in their majority areas. Their majority areas. Next point. Muhammad Ali Jinnah did not agree for the Congress nominating Muslim members Congress nominating Muslim members in the quota of 6 Muslims in Viceroy's Executive Council. In the quota of 6 Muslims in Viceroy's Executive Council. Due to this, the Wavell Plan failed and it was completely dropped. Due to this, the Wavell plan failed and it was completely dropped. Say 1945, in Amrita Bazar Patrika, it has come regarding the failure of Shimla Conference. So, uh, I have Manish's phone number. So, Manish, you're there? Yeah. So, what I will do is this the question paper, the answer script of my essay. I will send it to you on WhatsApp. You share it with others. I am not on your group, so you can just share it with others. I will send it to you. Yeah. So tomorrow I will start from the 1945 elections. Maybe tomorrow we will surely get independence, so we will finish up till 1947. And after we finish that, tomorrow I will give you the year-wise chronology since 1820 to 1947. So every year at 1820, 1828, like this, we will write and go, in which I will tell you what all important incidents happened. So this you can, uh, in 2 or 3 pages, you can easily revise your entire modern history. Uh, Next week, in modern history, what will be pending is our 1857 revolt is pending. Then some movements like peasant movements, backward class movements, environment movements, women movements, Dalit movements, and revolutionaries. Bhagat Singh Sukhdev Raju, the revolution is part one and part two. So next week we are going to finish with this. Right. So thank you guys. I'll end the session. Bye and take care.